heartbreaking case of Codi Bigsby. The disappearance and death of 4-year-old Codi Bigsby is a tragedy that continues to haunt the city of Hampton, Virginia, and beyond. What began as a desperate search for a missing child soon unraveled into a shocking tale of missed opportunities, systemic failures, and a pursuit of justice that still leaves lingering questions. In this video, we revisit Codi's case to honor his memory, uncover hard truths, and reflect on the lessons society can learn to protect vulnerable children. Codi Bigsby was a vibrant 4-year-old who lived in Hampton, Virginia. Although very young, his absence left an irreplaceable void. Codi lived with his father, Cory Bigsby, but little was known about the circumstances surrounding his environment until it was too late. The tragedy unfolded on January 31, 2022, when Cory Bigsby contacted authorities to report that his son was missing. According to Cory, Codi had vanished from their home in the Buckrow Beach community. At that moment, a community came together, hoping and praying for a safe return. However, the weeks ahead would see this hope give way to heartbreak. When news of Codi's disappearance broke, law enforcement and the local community sprang into action. Search efforts included canvassing neighborhoods, dredging water bodies, and utilizing K-9 units to follow leads. Flyers were distributed, national media picked up the story, and volunteers joined search parties to scour the area. Despite these efforts, investigators struggled to piece together a plausible narrative. Questions began to arise about the events leading up to Codi's disappearance, specifically concerning the discrepancies in Cory Bigsby's timeline and statements. What started as a missing person search evolved into a chilling criminal investigation. As the investigation deepened, attention turned overwhelmingly toward Cory Bigsby. Authorities identified inconsistencies in his account of the events. Early on, Cory claimed that he woke up to find his son missing, but further questioning unveiled contradictions that couldn't be ignored. Cory's timeline of his son's last known movements, his explanation of the household circumstances, and his behavior raised significant red flags. Investigators also began uncovering troubling information about Codi's living environment. While Cory Bigsby maintained that he was a loving father, evidence suggested that there might have been neglect and abuse in the home. At this point, Cory was considered the prime suspect in his son's disappearance, and tragically, hopes of finding Codi alive began to diminish. The news of Cory Bigsby's suspected involvement in his son's disappearance sent shockwaves through the Hampton community. Neighbors, local activists, and residents expressed their sorrow, frustration, and outrage. Many had joined hands in solidarity to search for Codi, only to be devastated by the revelation that the tragedy might have been avoidable. The emotional toll on the community was immense. Mourners held vigils and created memorials to honor Codi, even as everyone grappled with unanswered questions. Parents were left wondering how systems designed to protect children could have failed so profoundly. In the wake of mounting evidence, Cory Bigsby was arrested and charged with various offenses, including child neglect and abuse. The legal proceedings revealed even more disturbing details about Codi's final days. While Cory denied his involvement in Codi's death, the evidence painted a different picture. Eventually, Cory was convicted, marking a significant step toward justice for Codi. But while his sentencing provided some closure, it did little to soothe the anguish experienced by Codi's family and the wider community. Many questioned whether true justice had been served, especially since key details about Codi's disappearance and death remain unknown. Even after Cory Bigsby's sentencing, many aspects of this case remain enigmatic. What exactly happened to Codi in the final hours before his death? Why did Cory wait so long to report his son missing? Could the tragedy have been prevented if warning signs hadn't been overlooked? The lingering doubts extend to systemic failures as well. Were there signals of abuse or neglect that social services or those around Codi could have identified earlier? Were there gaps in the system that allowed this tragedy to unfold? These unanswered questions extend beyond this case, highlighting broader issues in how society protects its most vulnerable children. Codi Bigsby's case forces a hard look at child welfare systems. Experts in child protection argue that cases like Codi's often reveal significant blind spots, including the inability to act on early red flags. Whether through lack of resources, training, or accountability, these gaps can have fatal consequences. Additionally, the case sheds light on community dynamics when it comes to protecting vulnerable children. Sometimes the key to prevention lies in neighbors, educators, and other individuals speaking up when they suspect neglect or abuse. However, these warning signs are not always evident, and societal stigmas around intervention can make a bad situation worse. If there's a lesson to be learned from Codi's life and death, it's that vigilance and proactive measures are essential. Conversations around improving child welfare and strengthening community safeguards must remain a priority. In analyzing Codi's case, it's vital to feature the voices of the Hampton community. Interviews with residents reveal a shared sense of grief, but also resilience. Many community members express disbelief that such a tragedy could occur in their midst. Advocates for child safety have also spoken up, urging systemic change to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future. Their calls for improved communication between law enforcement, social services, and community organizations resonate deeply amid the pain of this loss. At the heart of this tragedy is the life of an innocent boy taken far too soon. Codi Bigsby should be remembered not only as the victim of a terrible injustice, but also as a symbol of why society must do better for its children. Many in Hampton have vowed not to let his life be forgotten. Vigils, community projects, and awareness campaigns have been created to honor his memory. Through these efforts, the hope is to turn this dark moment in history into a catalyst for change. Codi Bigsby's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile life is and how deeply society must commit to protecting its most vulnerable members. His disappearance and death may have resulted in justice through the conviction of his father, but the broader implications demand ongoing vigilance and systemic reform. As we remember Codi, we must also reflect on what can be done to save other children in dire situations. Let his memory drive us to take action for those who cannot yet speak for themselves. Through empathy, advocacy, and accountability, we can ensure that Codi's short life leaves a lasting legacy of hope and change.